Hey, what is up, everybody? If you're my patron, hello for the second time today. Did a little Q&A with them earlier today. So yeah, for those that don't know and haven't seen from the thumbnail, crossed 100,000 last weekend. Whew! Talk about like a weight off your shoulders. Now I don't know what to look forward to because 1,000,000 is so far away. But yeah, so it felt like the perfect time to jump on live with you guys, do a Q&A for a little while. I usually do these for at least 2 hours, but who knows, we may go longer. So any questions that you have, any comments, anything you want to throw out, just throw them out. Obviously, I'll prioritize the super chats, and so I'll try to get to as many as I possibly can. But welcome. Hope everybody's having an awesome Saturday, and thank you so much to all of you for getting me to 100K. Pretty awesome achievement. I'm gonna very soon apply for that silver play button, and my plan is to mount it right there so it's always visible when I'm live. You know, ideally it would be up higher, but I like being it over there. That way I can always see it on the screen. So I'll do like a live unboxing or whatever whenever that comes. All right, so we got a lot of people in the chat already, and already got some super chats that were waiting on me before I even went live. Talking entertainment with Josie. Congrats, Cody, on 100K. Thank you. Been watching since your review for Black Christmas 2019. Whew, what a doozy that one was. What has been your favorite review that you've done so far? I don't really have one. I have a lot of fun with them. So there's a lot of them that I can remember where I remember the intro that I did. I remember a specific joke or a bit that I have fun with. So I don't really have a favorite. I'm kind of my own biggest fan whenever I come up with these little comedic skits and stuff. So oftentimes I'll remember them for my funniest bit or the when I was editing what I thought was the funniest bit. So don't really have a favorite. I got quite a few that I like quite a bit. All right, let's see here. Got another one from Sean Sheridan. Congrats on 100K, Cody. Thoughts on A Time to Kill 1996 and the 1997 Stephen King Shining miniseries. Are you excited for Creed 3? A Time to Kill is a very good movie, but I've only seen it once, and I haven't seen it in years, so I don't have too many specific thoughts, but it is a good movie. 1997 Stephen King miniseries, I have never seen. I've never heard anything good about it, so I've never really wanted to dive into it. I know it's more like the novel, I guess, but that doesn't mean that it's better. And I haven't heard much positive about it ever. And then Creed 3, the trailer looked good. The story looks good. I'm curious to see what Michael B. Jordan can do as a director, but I find it very weird and kind of unappealing that that whole production and everybody involved seems to be at odds with Sylvester Stallone. Like Sylvester Stallone and Frank Stallone are kind of painting a picture as if the Rocky franchise has been yanked from him, and I don't like that look. That's his franchise, that's his story, that's his baby, and so there's a part of that that feels icky to me. I wish that wasn't the case. I wish I knew more. Obviously, there's probably two sides to it, but I do think the movie looks good. Cavante, where do you think season 6 of Cobra Kai goes after that ending, and what was your top 5 characters from season 5? Oh, Terry Silver. Dude, I don't know. It's been so long since I've watched it. Tori was a pretty good character that season. Hawk is barely even there. Miguel, of course, is good that season, and then Johnny and Chosen probably. But where do they go after that? I really don't know. I mean, they have that tournament that they have now entered into, obviously, so it's going to probably build up to that ultimate tournament that's like the world tournament. I would imagine that's probably where they'll stop the show unless they're going to get greedy and go for 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons. But that's the only thing I can think of because they've resolved a lot of the main conflicts, and I don't really know. But that whole tease at the end with Kreese, I don't really know where that's going to go. So your guess is as good as mine. Let's see. Congratulations on getting 100K subscribers. And question, what are your thoughts on James Gunn and Peter Safran as the heads of DC Studios and Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2 now being in development? I'm very excited that Henry Cavill is back as the Man of Steel, is back as Superman. I think it's been ridiculous that we've gone so long without him having a movie. Kind of incompetent, in my opinion, that they haven't done anything with him. So very excited about that, but I don't know what it's going to look like because it's obviously going to be very different than what Man of Steel was. And Man of Steel is what I loved. So I don't know If they go too classic and too hopeful and jovial, it might not appeal so much to me, but we'll see. James Gunn and Peter Safran. I know nothing about Peter Safran, but James Gunn, I'm a big fan of. I don't know as far as a director being like the head of a studio. I don't know how that's going to work out, but hopefully it does. They need somebody in charge, and James Gunn is a very creative guy, a smart guy that likes this universe quite a bit. So it's cool to see him get put in charge. I just hope that they don't start doing anything stupid. Like if they start having a bunch of different Batman all at once, that's going to be a little weird. In my patron Q&A, somebody asked about what Batman do you think he's going to bring into the DCEU, and I'm like, I don't care as long as they don't fuck with the Matt Reeves Batman. If they start like messing with that and that gets canceled or only goes 2 movies or whatever, I'm going to be fucking pissed. So I think one Batman's enough. I'm involved enough to understand if they're going to do a second Batman, I can keep the story straight, but your average person won't. They're going to be like, wait a minute, is this the same? Is this the same Batman? So I don't know. Time will tell. Congrats on 100K. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the marketing for Black Panther 2, maybe? It looks dead serious and no joke fest, which is good to see. I mean, all of the marketing feels like it's just kind of surrounding the loss of Chadwick Boseman. And it's kind of weird. I'm not going to be able to say for sure until I see the movie. It seems weird that the movie and the story and everything seems more geared at the death of Chadwick Boseman and who's going to take over the mantle of Black Panther than anything else, because they've more or less shown who is going to take over Black Panther. At least they gave a pretty fucking direct hint at the end of the second trailer. So I don't think that that's actually going to be a big mystery in the movie. I don't think that the identity of the new Black Panther is going to be a big plot point, but that's been their main marketing thing. So I don't know. It looks like a really good looking movie, like cinematography, CGI, the visuals, the shots. Like it looks like a really gorgeous movie, but I'm not a big fan of the first Black Panther. So we'll see how it goes. Cody, why do you think The Godfather 3 turned as mediocre as it is? I mean, it's indescribable how legendary and iconic the first 2 films are, but the third doesn't compare despite having same director and Al Pacino. It could be a myriad of things. I haven't seen the Godfather movies in a long time, but Francis Ford Coppola doing all 3 of them might have been a mistake. More times than not, you see a creative person, if they do 3 movies in the same kind of universe or the same characters or whatever, the third one always seems to suffer. Very rare exceptions. The source material for the movie might not have been as good. They're based off of books, so maybe the books and the source material for the first 2 movies is better, and they didn't have a whole lot to work with 3. I know he cast his daughter, and a lot of people hold that movie and say that the daughter is one of the worst parts of it. Sophia Coppola, I believe. So it could be a myriad of things, but yeah, I haven't seen them in so long to really be able to tell you specifically. I don't remember exactly what went wrong with 3. I do remember it was the weakest of the 3, but I don't remember why. Thoughts on the upcoming Crystal Lake TV series? I have no idea what to expect. Just A24 taking on Friday the 13th is weird to me. But then you have the TV series aspect of it, the fact that it's going to be a prequel focusing on Pamela. There's been a lot of weird things said by Brian Fuller and everybody else about multiple versions of Jason. And honestly, Brian Fuller being involved is the only reason why I'm intrigued. He's the guy that did Hannibal, and Hannibal was awesome. So I really don't know what to expect, and I'm not really all that excited about it. So if they might win me over once they start marketing it, then I know more. But as of right now, it just seems like a really weird idea. Certainly not what I would do first if I had the rights to Friday the 13th. Congrats, man. Been watching for years. Any TV shows you're watching right now besides Chucky? No, I'm trying to power through the last few seasons of The Walking Dead so that I can do a ranking at the end of the month, because the show is ending before they start the multitude of spin-offs with the same fucking characters. The show's ending on the 20th, so I want to be able to try to finish the show so I can do a ranking of all the seasons. I think that would be a cool video. But that's all I'm watching right now, really, as far as new shows, is Chucky. Congrats on 100K. Any video coming up that you're most excited about for the rest of the year? Not so much. I'm kind of taking it easy this month. September and October were nuts for me, between traveling and doing the film festival, Fantastic Fest, and then just October in general is always balls to the wall on this channel. So I've been exhausted. And I've had some nothing major, nothing to really report about it, but I've had a few little health issues here and there where I was at the ER at one point. I got to go to the dentist on Monday for a tooth issue that suddenly popped up over the past week. So I'm kind of taking it easy this month and trying to relax more and kind of wind down after the busy season. I do plan on doing some of the John Carpenter reviews this month. Of course, I'll cover Wakanda Forever. That's really the only new release aside from Glass Onion that's coming out that I'm interested in this month. So a much quieter month. But I can't think of any big projects for the rest of the year. I got a lot of projects that I had planned to experiment with next year that I'm pretty excited about, but you guys will find out about those a little later on. Thanks for always talking to me. Hey, no problem. No problem. Congrats on 100K. You definitely deserve it. How do you feel about Nev Campbell not returning for the next Scream film? I won't really know until I see the movie. When the news first dropped, it seemed like everybody went to two opposite camps. You had people that are like, give her all the money that she wants. She deserves it all. The franchise is nothing without her. And then you had the other opposite side that's like, shut up. You're a hired actor. Do what you're paid for. Leave. And I was in the middle on that. I think Nev Campbell is awesome. I think Sydney Prescott is arguably the best final girl, and she's certainly a very important piece to Scream. I don't think that Scream needs Nev Campbell, though. I think that the last movie, especially, established a new era, a new trilogy to where they can start to leave behind the legacy characters, and this new cast can take over just fine. And so I really didn't get worried all that much whenever she said she wasn't going to return. Obviously, if she really did get lowballed and they screwed her over, then that's not cool because she's been here since the beginning and she deserves to get top billing and to get the paycheck she deserves. But we don't really know the details of that. So I won't know until I see the movie whether or not it feels like there's a Sidney Prescott sized hole in its heart. But I think Scream will be just fine without her as long as they have a good story. Congrats on 100K, fully deserved. Just got into AIC because of your ranking video. Been listening to Nutshell nonstop. Hell yeah. Alice in Chains, baby. It's awesome. Who is Cody Leach, Malignant or Barbarian? Sudden death match. Thanks, Blake. Malignant or Barbarian? I'll probably go Barbarian, honestly. Like, because Malignant, I loved. I was kind of mixed on it when I first saw it. I didn't quite know how to take it, and then I watched it again and really liked it. And then I started to love that movie. Barbarian, I loved from the start, and I think Barbarian's got a little bit more brewing underneath the surface, where Malignant's just like this crazy batshit campy movie that I have a lot of fun with. So they're both kind of cut from the same cloth for sure. They're both very extreme, bold things, love or hate ideas. But I probably would pick Barbarian if I had to pick one. Thoughts on Goodfellas and why? And are you a fan of The Sopranos? Would you enjoy rewatching it? Goodfellas is in my top 10 movies of all time. I love Goodfellas. That's my favorite Scorsese movie, my favorite mob movie, for a multitude of reasons. I haven't reviewed it yet, but it's just great characters, a great story. All the performances are awesome. The way that Martin Scorsese films it and tells the story, it's phenomenal. It's a movie that I didn't like that much when I first watched it too. I was a teenager. Scarface had the same effect where I watched it and I'm like, these movies are fucking long. And the more that I watched it, the more I grew to love it. And yeah, Goodfellas is it's perfection to me. So at some point I'll probably review that. Are you a fan of The Sopranos? I like The Sopranos, but I found it extremely overrated. Now, part of that's because I've seen all of the shows that The Sopranos kind of paved the way for. And so going back and seeing kind of where it started, like the first really big TV show that was doing stuff like that doesn't have quite the same impact. But I just found a lot of The Sopranos to be, it wasn't necessarily boring, but there wasn't a whole lot of forward momentum in the plot. Like there's a lot of just kind of them hanging out doing mob stuff. It was really only one season that felt like it actually had like a season long plot. That was the one with Steve Buscemi, which was my favorite season. But it's probably not a show that I would rewatch. Honestly, I watched them all before the Many Saints of Newark came out because I was excited about that, and that was a complete waste of excitement. And I did a ranking of all the seasons if you want to check that out for all my thoughts. But yeah, not one of my favorite shows. I know it's unpopular, but it is what it is. 100K! Just finished Terrifier 2. I have so many questions now. Art will be one of this generation's icons for sure. The special effects, chef's kiss. Yeah, I was not on that train with the first one. I was like, guys, come on, calm down. Art's cool, but let's chill. And the second one, I was like, okay, yeah, he's pretty much an icon now. Yeah, I really enjoyed Terrifier 2. I've been debating on getting Screenbox so I can watch it again before the Blu-ray comes. But yeah, it's a movie that does leave with a lot of questions. Now, obviously, there's no doubt whatsoever we're going to get a third one. So I'm sure those questions will be answered. But that was my main frustration, is that you have a 2 hour and 18-minute movie, and it brings up a lot of questions and doesn't answer hardly any of them by the end of it. So I kind of felt like it was a little frustrating to walk out and be like, well, now what? But yeah, really good movie. Congrats on 100K, brother. Have you checked out the new Del Toro show, Cabinets of Curiosities, on Netflix? I hope to see your Metallica rankings soon. No, my wife, I think, watched a little bit of it, and she said that I would really like it. So we'll probably end up watching some of that at some point here this weekend. She said it was like an adult Goosebumps, so that has me intrigued. As far as a Metallica ranking, yeah, probably not this month, but here soon. You know, me and CP talked after the AIC one, and we had fun with that. So Metallica will definitely be a lot more controversial. We'll just say that. But yeah, at some point soon. Hey, Cody, congrats. What is your opinion on the movie The Descent? I'd love a video on that movie. It's one of my faves. Another one that I'm sure I'll review at some point. I like The Descent quite a bit. It's not one that I wasn't as enamored with it when it first came out, because when it first came out, that was the movie that everybody was like, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. And then I watched it and I'm like, bitch, please. I've seen this shit before. But The Descent's a really good movie. It's got a really good story, really good characters, both the lead character and the one that's kind of the pseudo villain. Really good creature design and gore. And the movie, what I love about it is that even before the monsters show up, it's still very intense and nail biting, just because of the whole cave dwelling thing, which just freaks me out. Like, that's the one thing you could never pay me to do, is cave dwelling or cave diving or spelunking, or especially the underwater cave diving. Like, those motherfuckers are crazy. You squeeze in between rocks and just inching your way through underwater. No, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Bury me alive before that shit happens. Dread 2012 is the definition of an underrated gem. I don't know. That's a movie. I talked about this in my Patreon Q&A. They asked, what are your thoughts on the words unrated, basically, or something along those lines. I wouldn't consider Dread to be underrated, because everybody that talks about it pretty high praise. It's just a movie that wasn't as successful as it could have been. Underrated to me is a movie where either you think that it's so much better than people say that it is, like I would say Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is underrated, or is a movie that is just underappreciated in some way. Like, you don't appreciate, like Black Christmas is underappreciated in my mind. A lot of the things that people credit Halloween with, I would credit Black Christmas with. So just difference of opinion on the word underrated. But no, I would think that Dread 2012 is appropriately rated, but just underperformed, unfortunately. Which video game do you think would translate well into a movie? Well, fuck, a lot of the ones that they've screwed up so far. Uncharted should have been a really perfect script right there for a movie. I liked that movie, but they didn't do what they could have done with it. I think that there's a version of God of War that could be cool for a movie. I don't think that that's something you need to expand into a TV series or anything. Metal Gear Solid could never be a movie. That needs to be a TV series. And I'm hoping that The Last of Us succeeds like a motherfucker and people start doing limited series or shows based off of video games and not just movies. Resident Evil, all of those should be pretty easy to translate into a movie, although you'd think it was the hardest fucking thing on earth. Same with Silent Hill. They did a better job with Silent Hill. But let's see. I got my video games here. What else? Not seeing anything else that's jumping out at me. Yep. I can't think of any others right now. Sorry. A little bit of a brain fart, I guess. But those are some ones that I think should be easy. Daniel Skinner, what would you say is your favorite in-person memory from meeting Sean Chandler in person? For me, when I met him in LA and he told me and others his only experience with the Ref was the VHS cover. Sean. You have not seen The Ref? What the hell? I have failed you as a friend. Favorite in-person memory from meeting Sean Chandler. I don't know if I have a specific one. I mean, we've had a good time all 3 times that we've met up. Like when he drove down here just to stay with us for about a week was fun. Just kind of getting to know him, and I mean, not that he was any different than I already knew, but you know, it's always a little different in person. Um, Getting to show off my chef skills was fun. Going downtown. It was funny to see how impatient Sean is when it comes to like lines and things like that. That really came out a lot in downtown Savannah. Whenever we went to the con, that was a lot of fun. And then I stayed with him at the Fantastic Fest. So yeah, they've all been good. All been good memories. I don't have like a standout one necessarily. Will Meister, congrats on 100K. I saw your review of this week's episode of Chucky. I felt like Jennifer Tilly was a bit darker in that episode. I thought that's something you would like and comment on. I didn't feel she was any different than any other episode. I haven't hated the Jennifer Tilly stuff. I just don't like the fact that every single time they go back to her, they just turn the camp all the way up. And that's the only tone you get from those segments. And so it just feels a little one note to me. She doesn't feel like the same character that was in Bride of Chucky. She just seems really silly and over the top ditzy and just like batshit crazy to like she needs to be in a straitjacket kind of crazy, not like a murderer crazy, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel any different to me. I came in at 70K subs in 2018 when you're killing it with the reviews like Jeepers Creepers 3, and I'm so happy for you, Cody. Glad I came here when I did. Came in at 70K subs in 2018. Well, those are 2 different numbers because in 2018 I definitely was not at 70K. But wherever you came in, welcome. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers 3, I was ugh. Damn Jeepers Creepers sequels. Do you believe in God? Not want to judge. If so or not, how do you feel about the Chucky anti-religion stuff? Well, I'm not going to comment on the first question because that's just one of those things that no matter what you say, you're going to be the wrong answer for somebody. So how do I feel about the Chucky anti-religion stuff? It's a little heavy-handed so far, to be honest with you. I get that, it seems, again, I don't mean to speak for the guy. It seems pretty obvious that Don Mancini has probably had something while he was growing up that's similar to this, where I don't know if his parents were religious or something to where his homosexuality and the religion that he was expected to practice clashed. And so he's exploring that in this season. But I feel like that's all they've really been doing with Devin and Jake for the most part. And that just doesn't really propel the plot forward very much to me, especially not for 5 episodes. You had the little scene in the last episode where he gets to that passage in the Bible that's talking about laying with a man, and he rips out all the pages. You've got good Chucky who is reading the Bible, and so again, this is just a prediction, but it seems very obvious to me that Jake and good Chucky are going to become very close, and then good Chucky is going to find out that he's gay and turn on him, and it's just going to be like, okay, dude, we get it. Christians by the book don't like gay people. We get it. We get it. We get it. We get it. So not to say that it's not important to talk about. It's certainly something that if you are gay, as Don Mancini is, that's a very hot button topic, something that he wants to bring attention to or get some people talking about, and that's fine. I just think there's more successful ways to do it, and it just seems very surface value to me. Congratulations, you're a legend. Have brought horror to a younger audience. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. But thank you. Thoughts on the recent Resident Evil and Silent Hill game announcements? Well, Resident Evil 4, the remake, was announced quite a while ago, but it looks fucking awesome. I cannot wait for that. That's definitely my most anticipated game for next year. The Silent Hill game announcements kind of pissed me off because it drives me nuts that they still continue to ignore the first game. The first game is my favorite Silent Hill. That was the one that I played first. That was my first introduction to survival horror. It's got such a good story, and that game desperately needs a remaster and a remake. And the fact that they just skipped over it and did 2 first because 2 is the most popular one, it just annoys the fuck out of me. It's like, guys, we haven't been able to play Silent Hill since the PS1. Give me a fucking break. So yeah, they announced a couple other games. I have no idea what the hell those are. I don't really get much out of the video game teasers that don't actually show gameplay because it's just like, this doesn't tell me anything about the game. Now, I'm sure the Silent Hill 2 remake is going to be awesome, and I'm going to play it day one. I'm sure, I hope it's going to be as good as the Resident Evil remakes, but it really pissed me off that they skipped over the first one, because that means if this one succeeds, I doubt they're going to continue and do a remake to 1. They're just going to continue on and do Silent Hill 3. So I don't know. It frustrated me. Didn't make any sense to me. How's the Walking Dead watch going? One of my favorite shows, but totally understand the issues everyone has. Well, I've watched 8 episodes of season 8 so far since I've decided to do it, and it fucking sucks. There's nothing happening. It's just, okay, about an episode and a half of plot stretched across 8 episodes. But I have it on good authority that season 8 is arguably the worst of the entire show, and after that, season 9, 10, and 11 are a significant pickup. So if you guys are lying, I'm coming for all of you, because this is going to be a lot of time and effort for one video. But yeah, it's been rough so far. Are you a fan of Kevin Smith and any of his films? I like Kevin Smith. I'm not a diehard by any means, and I certainly wasn't the generation that really like grew up with Kevin Smith. I still have not seen Clerks. I haven't seen Mallrats. I haven't seen Dogma. I love Chasing Amy. I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm a big fan of Red State. Tusk has its moments, gets a little weird for me, though, especially after Johnny Depp shows up. It's not really for me. I hated Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I don't know if I've seen any more. I have seen Clerks 2 back when it came out, but I remember nothing about it. So I like Kevin Smith a lot as a person. Like, he's fascinating to listen to. He's such a cool guy. As far as his body of work, though, I only have experienced about half of it. What is your favorite Heisenberg Walter White moment from Breaking Bad? Not Better Call Saul. Mine is when he killed Gus Fring or Mike Ehrmantraut. There's so many, man. There's so many. The one that always sticks out in my mind, because it's my favorite episode of the series, is Half Measures, whenever he's trying to get Jesse to make peace with the drug dealers that killed Combo. And Jesse finds out that they ended up killing the kid, and so he goes to kill him, and Walt just comes out of nowhere, and just takes him out with that Aztec. That kind of is the standout moment to me, where it's like, oh, so Walter White's just gone. Like, you're straight Heisenberg from now on. So yeah, there's so many, man. I could do a top 20 list and still feel like I left something off the list. What was your favorite horror movie so far, and what's been your least so far in 2022? My favorite's been X, and my least favorite so far has been Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I saw Birdemic 3 because of Uncle Sean at the Fantastic Fest, I would tell you that Jeepers Creepers Reborn is the worst movie period that I've seen all year. And but Birdemic 3 has to go below that. But yeah, those two. And thank you. Congrats on 100K, Cody. Are you planning on doing a review for Violent Night with David Harbour? Have you watched the trailer yet? I am planning on seeing it and doing a review, but no, I have not watched the trailer yet. All I had to hear was the premise, and I was sold. I tend to not watch trailers anymore for a movie if I know for a fact I'm going to see it. If I get enough out of the poster or get enough out of the plot synopsis, because I prefer going into movies blind and not having trailer footage sitting around in my brain, especially horror films. So yeah, I have not watched the trailer, but I am definitely going to check it out. What is your favorite Dr. Loomis moment? Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. I mean, you got, I love the speech that he has about the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Of course, there's the him blowing himself up at the end of 2. You have the moment in 4 where he's screaming about, Jamie being covered in blood. So there's a ton of good Loomis moments. I don't know if I have a favorite, really. Oh, really quick. It's not a super chat, but just since it's right below it. Are you stoked for God of War Ragnarok? Fuck yes. Yes. I will be dead to the world when that game comes out. I loved God of War, and this, from everything that I'm hearing, is even better. So that's amazing. Congratulations, Cody. Been a fan since 2017. Are you excited for the new Safdie Brothers movie? They are teaming up with Adam Sandler again. Not necessarily. Like, I liked Good Time. I liked Uncut Gems. I wasn't as blown away as everybody else. They're very good movies, but they didn't like change my life or anything like that. So it's cool that they're working with him again. I'm glad to see Adam Sandler doing serious stuff more often than not, because his comedy work doesn't work anymore, in my opinion. I'm going to be seeing Adam Sandler actually live on the 14th. So just over a week from now, he's coming to Savannah. So I have tickets to see him. He's got a secret special guest. So I'm hoping it's like Rob Schneider or somebody. So that'd be cool. But yeah, I wouldn't say excited, but I'll definitely be interested when it comes out. First, Daniel Harris meets with Malika Cobb. The David Gordon Green hints at another movie. Now it's confirmed a Halloween TV series coming to Peacock. Your thoughts? Do you buy that Halloween ended? Well, no. Do I buy that this timeline of Halloween ended? Absolutely. But no, Halloween is not going anywhere. Never, probably. Haven't heard anything about Daniel Harris meeting with Malika Cobb and David Gordon Green hinting at another movie, because Blumhouse does not even have the rights to Halloween after this movie, from what I understand. So I wouldn't put too much... I don't think that story holds too much water, but who knows? And then a Halloween TV series, I have no idea what the fuck that's going to look like. But yeah, Halloween's not going anywhere. $50. Damn. Thanks, man. Robert. Hey, Cody, this is Tom Roberts. Been watching you since about 2018, and I'm super happy you made it to 100K. As am I. My favorite Halloween is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Favorite horror film is The Thing. Well, hey, you're in good company, because that's my favorite horror film as well. And there's days where I kind of want to say Halloween 3 is my favorite. It's a close second. I love the original. I just think the original is a little overrated. I get sick of hearing about it, where Halloween 3, I'm like, this thing deserves more credit. How would you rank the S. Craig Zoller movies? Much love, Cody. It's been so long since I've seen Bone Tomahawk, so take this with a grain of salt. But I would say Dragged Across Concrete, Bone Tomahawk, and then definitely, no matter what, Brawl in Subblock 99 at number 1. That one's fucking awesome to me. My wife is spying on me. You're going to love Cabinets of Curiosity. Okay, we'll see. Jacob Movie Talk, what is up? Thank you so much. I knew Cody's wife would be beautiful. Well, she absolutely is. And if she's watching, you just made her day. Saint Anger number 1 easily hits trash can. You've been canceled, sir. Congrats on 100K. Will you review 28 weeks later? I already have. It's on this channel somewhere. It's an older review, but I have done it. 5:19. Oh, wow. I'm about 13 minutes behind. Not too bad. Congrats, Cody. I'd like to say I thought Halloween Ends was trash. Glad I'm enjoying Chucky Season 2 a lot. Okay, wow. 2 different directions. Woo. Hoping Halloween gets rebooted from scratch. I would like to see that for sure. I would like to see somebody just kind of wipe the slate clean and do their own thing with it. I don't think you can change Michael too much. You got to keep that mask. You got to keep Michael to a degree, but I think everything else you could play around with quite a bit. Yeah, I don't think Halloween's Ends was trash, but I get why a lot of people hated it. I also get why a lot of people loved it. And I'm glad you're enjoying Chucky Season 2 a lot as well. I'm very mixed negative on it, but it seems a lot of people are enjoying it, and I'm happy for them. Pseudo Villain, have you seen The Descent 2? I have, but not enough to remember hardly anything about it. But in that original movie, she's essentially not really necessarily a villain, but she's somebody that's done some fucked up shit. Hello, Cody. Congrats on the subs. First time watching your live streams. I discovered you with your Dexter reviews. You're awesome. Love your reviews. Thank you so much. Them old Dexter reviews. The Last of Us, January 15th. Yes. I'm going to try like hell to get screeners for that, because I'm going to cover the motherfucker out of that show. Not your normal genres, but are you a John Wayne, John Ford fan? The Searchers, Stagecoach, Quiet Man, Donovan's Reef. I have never seen a single John Wayne or John Ford movie. You could take my American card, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Westerns, I have very limited experience with. War movies, I have very limited experience with. I'd like to see more as time goes on, but they're not the genres that I immediately go to by any means. My favorite Western is the 3:10 to Yuma remake. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Didn't know I was claustrophobic until The Descent. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy claustrophobic, but that being underground and caves and cave-ins and getting stuck, fuck that. Holly says, going to see the Forrest Gump bench in Savannah. Ha ha ha. Yeah, because it's a bush now. It's not there anymore. Congrats on 100K, Cody. What are your thoughts on The Warriors from 79? I love that fucking movie. That's a movie that's prime for a remake. You know, the original is classic. The original is still very good. It holds up very well, but that's a movie you could do a lot of things with a remake, I think. But yeah, The Warriors is the shit. If you guys haven't seen that, that's a really good movie. The video game is awesome too. It probably hasn't aged so well, but it was a really good companion piece. Congrats on 100K. Thanks for convincing me to give Phantasm and Freddy a chance. I'm 24 and I never watched a slasher before. Did you watch The Wire? Ooh, started with Phantasm and Freddy. It's a good one. No, I tried to watch The Wire. I think I got like 7 episodes in, and it was just too slow for me. That's another one that everybody swears is the greatest thing on earth, and I have just tried and could not get through it. HBO, especially early HBO shows, were really slow paced and really deliberately paced, and I don't think they've aged as well as people think that they have. So yeah, The Wire, I hear nothing but amazing things about it. I bought the Blu-ray box set when it came out to watch them, and I was just bored. Cody, have you seen A Bronx Tale, 90s mob movie directed by Robert De Niro a few years after doing Goodfellas? He stars in it as well. I think you'll like it. I have not, but it is on my list of things to see. I believe that's the one with the kid from Renaissance Man and a few others that like he went to prison and some other shit. But yeah, I've heard it's really good. I've heard it's really good. Favorite Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Judas Priest, Anthrax, and Wasp albums. And can you rank some of those bands? Jesus. I cannot answer all of that. Favorite Metallica album, Master of Puppets. Favorite Megadeth album, I really don't have one because I don't know Megadeth necessarily by albums. I know them more by songs because I'm not as big of a Megadeth fan. Same with Slayer. Favorite Iron Maiden album is Brave New World. Not a huge Motorhead fan. Favorite Judas Priest album is probably Demolition, which is unpopular. Anthrax is We've Come For You All, also unpopular. Wasp, again, I don't have enough of an opinion on albums. That is no songs. And rank some of those bands. Metallica at the top, Judas Priest right after that, Iron Maiden third, and after that, just chaos. Chaos. Congratulations, man. Do you like black metal such as Mayhem? No. If so, have you seen Lords of Chaos with Rory Culkin? Yes. It's a very disturbing movie. It's good. It's disturbing. It's not one that I'd probably ever watch again, but yeah, it's pretty fucked up. But no, I'm not a fan of black metal. Let's see here. Anything new or exciting planned for the channel now that you've reached this massive milestone? Congrats. I have a few ideas. Next year, I want to do a lot more experimentation, do a lot of things differently, not just do movie reviews and rankings and kind of the run-of-the-mill stuff. I spent the first year that I was full-time just basically doubling down, tripling down on everything that I already knew and have already had experience doing, but I have some ideas for some new shows and some new things that I want to try to play around with in 2023. Some of them are half-baked ideas. Some of them are fully baked. Just haven't had the time to put them in the oven yet. Joshua Nelson, thoughts on Negan as a character? Even in the weaker Walking Dead episodes, he was always a highlight for me. I prefer the comics, but enjoy the show. I haven't seen enough of him to really have a comment. I love, oh, fuck, now I'm blanking on the actor's name. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I thought he was awesome when he first debuted as Negan, but season 7 was the worst season of the show that I had seen up to that point, and then I dropped off the show afterwards. Season 8 has barely had any of them in it so far, and I have nothing to comment on the Negan after he's not the villain anymore, so I don't know. Good afternoon, Cody. Do you ever get around to finishing Supernatural? Nope. I actually watched a couple episodes, just random ones yesterday while I was eating dinner, though. That's a show that I would love to get back on track with and finish, but just like everything else, it's just like, fuck, when do I have the time? I'm always watching things for reviews or watching things for rankings, and so that's the first sacrifice you have to make when you do this for full time, is like movies and TVs as a pastime is kind of gone. Now it's just like, all right, I've got a couple of hours. What do I need to watch for work? So yeah, I would love to go and finish it because I feel like I was such a fan of the show. It just feels weird that I haven't finished it, but I have not watched it yet. Lone Wolf, cool to hear you're a metal fan. Have you heard a band called Ice Nine Kills? Their last two albums are based on horror movies. If you're interested, yeah, everybody and their mother was pointing me towards the single that they came out with. It was based off of Child's Play. I didn't enjoy the music whatsoever, and so I didn't really dive much into anything else that they were doing. Seems like a lot of people like them though. Thoughts on Elon Musk buying Twitter, and do you ever see yourself going digital for movie and TV series buying? I went digital for short storage space. I give zero fucks about Elon Musk or Twitter. I've seen everybody and their mother losing their mind on Twitter, like, I'm leaving. I'm like, okay, it's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departures. It's one of them things where it's the popular thing for people to hate on right now. They're like, he's ruining Twitter. He's ruining my life. I'm not paying $8 for this. I'm like, okay, so don't. Who gives a shit? And a month from now, all the same people are going to be on Twitter that are saying they're leaving, and nobody's going to be talking about it anymore. So I don't care. Do you ever see yourself going digital? Not unless they force me to. I still buy Blu-rays, and I've gone digital for the most part with my video games, just because it's more convenient. Because I have multiple PlayStations, multiple Xboxes in different rooms of the house, so it's easier for me to just start playing in here, and then if I decide to play later on in another room, I don't have to come get the disc and reinstall and shit like that. I can just go on the cloud, and like PS5 and Xbox Series X, it just auto syncs with the cloud, so you just pick up right where you were, and I can delete and reinstall the game. It's just, to me at this point, it makes more sense to go digital with games, although I wish that the digital copies cost less than the physical copies. That still doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, movies, I'll always have physical media until they stop making them. What would you like to see with the new Karate Kid movie? Nostalgia trip with all the elements of the Karate Kid world united, or a fresh start? Congrats on the 100K. Glad your gamble of going full-time paid off. Me too. I have no idea, because I have no idea what the hell they're doing making a movie right now. I mean, if they were making a movie to end the Cobra Kai series, that would make sense to me. But doing a Karate Kid movie that none of the Cobra Kai people are even knowledgeable of what's going on, and they're not involved with it, it seems very fucking weird to me. So I have no idea. I think it's foolish to do a movie period right now with the show being as popular as it is. Wait till after the show. Has there been any modern horror film that has come close to dethroning The Thing as your number one? No. A very, very, very extreme rarity that I see a new film and it jumps up into any of my top lists. Like the Batman is the only one, I think, since I've been on YouTube where I see it and immediately I'm like 5 out of 5, one of my favorites ever. Usually, even if I love a new film, nostalgia is very powerful with me, and rewatch and stuff like that. So a lot of these movies that I've grown up with and watched dozens of times and have kind of shaped my movie taste, they're always going to be more valuable to me than a movie that I just saw a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. So no modern horror film has come close to dethroning The Thing. I don't even know if I went back and looked at my top 50 horror films. I don't even know how many movies on that list are within the last 10 years. A lot of them are older stuff. So that's just kind of how I go. I like the nostalgic stuff. Congrats on 100K. You've seen any gameplay for the Callisto Protocol yet? It's from the co-creator of Dead Space, and I'm excited as hell for it. Yes, looks very good. I'm very curious about it. I think it comes out in December. So I'm actually playing through the old Dead Space games a little bit now because I want to play through them before the remake gets here. And when the remake gets here, I'll review that on the Game Chamber channel and then rank the Dead Space games. But yeah, it looks kind of like how the guy that made Resident Evil 4 went and did The Evil Within. And so it kind of had a little bit of the Resident Evil 4 flavor, and it looked and played like it. That's kind of what I'm getting from Callisto. So hopefully it's good. Got a lot of really good horror games on the horizon. What if Halloween did a Wes Craven New Nightmare route and someone was killing as Michael Myers? Would you like that? And do you think it could work? No and no. Wes Craven's New Nightmare was a very unique experiment that paid off, and I don't think anybody just doing what Wes Craven did would succeed, because everybody would just go, oh, you're just ripping off New Nightmare. I don't think anybody, I mean, Freddy was just in such a shitty spot after 5 and especially 6 that he needed something wacky and weird to kind of bring him back. And so that's the only time and place for something like that to work. Halloween's still very healthy despite everybody losing their shit over Halloween Ends. So I don't think they need to do anything too wild like that. I don't think that they would, even if they wanted to. Riley wants a shout out. I love you, Riley, my baby. Do you have any worries about The Last of Us? No. To me, everything I've seen so far looks amazing. I think the show's going to fucking kill. I think it's going to change the conversation about how we adapt video games to where we have had multitudes of movies try and fail. I think The Last of Us is going to prove that some of these game stories need to be respected, and you can't just cram them into an hour and 45 minutes and expect it to work. And so I think that the show is going to blow people's minds. The critics are going to love it. The fans are going to love it. It's going to turn people onto the property that have never played the video games. And you're going to have studios and streaming services looking at things like Metal Gear Solid and all these other movies that they've been, or all these other games that they've been like, how the fuck do we do a movie on this? They're going to go, hey, let's do a TV season about Metal Gear Solid. And yeah, that I have all the faith in the world in it. I don't get how The Collector wasn't more popular. Neither do I. Neither do I. Like when everybody was talking about Art the Clown and Terrifier 1, I'm like, fuck that. The Collector is the new horror icon. Where's he at? Where's all his love? Congrats on 100K. I remember watching back when you had that super loud intro. I'm glad I stuck around, though. You turned me into a horror fan. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, too. Hey, Cody, you and Wham are my favorite YouTubers. Discovered y'all in 2018 during all the Halloween hype and haven't looked back. Much respect. Awesome. Full speed ahead. Thank you for sticking around since 2018, the dark ages. I want to start a movie collection soon. I want to do Blu-rays, but what do you think is ideal? Should I collect the regular blue ones or the black 4K Ultra HD or a mix of both? A mix of both. I mean, I don't think I don't buy every movie on 4K that comes out because a lot of them aren't really given a whole lot of some of them aren't given the full treatment as far as upscaling. It's just like when you used to see movies that were barely better looking than the DVDs come to Blu-ray. You still have some that look like that. And there's some movies that don't look better in 4K. I've said numerous times how you have a lot of these older horror films that the more that they touch them up, the more that they upconvert them and sharpen the picture, the worse that they look because you see all these things you weren't supposed to look. Like watch some of the best copies of Friday the 13th, the original one, and you see all like the prosthetics and stuff for all the kills. Like the very first kill in the movie where she gets her throat cut, you can see the little plastic or the rubber patch on her neck. It's a totally different color than her skin. And you know, I think that horror movies, especially the older ones, sometimes they need to look a little dingier and a little grainier and a little untouched because it adds to the effect. So build out your collection with Blu-rays, and for specific movies, mostly newer ones, like maybe Top Gun Maverick, stuff like that, go for the 4K. Thoughts on Heat 1995? Do you like that movie? I love that movie. It's one of those movies where I don't talk about very often, but every time I revisit it, I'm like, fuck, this is good. Damn good movie. Excuse me. Let's see. Slim Shady fan forever, $4.99. Thank you so much. Could Art the Clown be the new Freddy of this generation with the evil connected to hell? The ending of T2 reminded me how kooky the Freddy movies get. No, I don't think anybody can replace Freddy. Freddy and Art are very different characters. They have very little in common with each other. So Art will just be the new Art, not the new Freddy. Who your favorite Cobra Kai character? Probably Johnny. I mean, the show is really, it started off being about Johnny, and he's kind of the main draw to me. Have you played Gotham Knights? If so, what are your thoughts on it without using the words Arkham series? That's a whole other franchise by a whole other studio. Well, yes and no, because it's the same studio that did Arkham Origins, is it not? So it's okay. I was playing it a little bit before I went live. It's more of a beat 'em up game than an Arkham game, and I don't like that. I don't prefer that. There's some good things about it, but it just seems like um, there's not a whole lot of meat on its bones. It's a lot of busy work. It's a lot of side quests and these random crimes that pop up where you just jump down into the street, beat up 4 or 5 guys, and move on to the next one. And so the game doesn't have near the creativity or the life or the fun factor that any of the Arkham games, including Arkham Origins, had. And so it just seems very weird to me to set a game in. It's not in that universe, isn't in that canon, but it's obviously a game that's trying to kind of market to those fans and play off of the success of that franchise. And so it seems weird to me that very critical things that were awesome in Arkham, like the fighting and the gliding, are absent here. It's a totally different fighting style. You don't get to glide the way that Batman glided, even if you have Batgirl on the wings. So you can't do that. You can get a glide ability later on, but it's not quite the same thing. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay so far. Do you watch Stanley Kubrick movies other than The Shining, like Clockwork? I have seen hardly none of the Stanley Kubrick movies. I've only seen The Shining and Full Metal Jacket, actually. So yeah, a lot of those older films and classic films, I have a lot of homework, a lot of homework to do. Let's see here. Lucas Griffin, keep in mind I'm one of your biggest fans. That being said, I'm stoned as crap right now, and I'm wondering if you smoke or smoked weed. No and no. Never really been my thing. I've talked at length in like my podcast that I haven't done anything with in over a year about the reasons why. But yeah, the any form of drugs has never really been appealing to me. Would love to see your Class of 1999 review. Is that a horror movie? I don't know if I've heard of that one. Don't know if I've heard of Class of 1999. If it's a horror film, I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. Thoughts on Matt Reeves directing Batman villain spin-off movies? It seems he is building his own DCU style universe. I still prefer Dark Knight, but the Batman on the third watch is getting closer to it. Is he directing the villain spin-off movies, or is he just like running that and like producing it and kind of shepherding it? I don't know. Either or. I don't necessarily like the idea of him directing it because I want him to just stick with the Batman movies for right now, and I don't want him to get overburdened doing so much stuff and kind of lose his creative momentum within that universe. But if he's, you know, being like a Kevin Feige for the Batman universe, I think that's pretty awesome. Congrats on 100K. Been watching since 2019. What is your excitement level for God of War? Through the roof. It's been a very lackluster year for video games. Aside from a couple standouts like Elden Ring, it's been a shitty year for video games. And so God of War has been the one all year long where I'm like, well, at least I can wait till that one comes out because I know it's going to be awesome. And all the reviews dropped a couple days ago, and they're all saying one of the best sequels of all time, one of the best video games of all time, does everything better than the first one, which was damn near a masterpiece. And so I'm extremely excited for it. You drink alcohol? If so, what's your favorite? Don't really drink either. I used to when I was younger. I loved the taste of beer when I was growing up as a kid, you know, getting little sips off of, dad would give you a little sip or something like that. It was like, man, I can't wait to drink beer. And then as soon as I was a teenager and it was readily available, I kind of lost my taste for it. So I can have a beer every once in a while. I like a Corona with lime, but I very rarely, maybe 2, 3 times a year, will actually have a alcoholic drink. When I did, I liked Crown and Coke. I liked 7 and 7. There was a drink that we used to make in high school called a Washington Apple, which is like Crown Royal and Apple Pucker and something else. And it kind of had like an apple taste to it that was pretty good, but I haven't had one since I was a senior. Never been a fan of like the vodka Red Bull type drinks, Jaeger bombs and stuff like that. It just, no, I was always kind of like a whiskey and Coke kind of guy. Keep in mind, I'm one of your biggest fans. Have you ever smoked? I'm stoned AF right now. What do you think about Mitch Lucker, the lead singer of Suicide Silence? Same answer as before. No. But what do you think about Mitch Lucker? I don't know anything about Suicide Silence, so I don't know anything about Mitch Lucker. Um, yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you, but no. Interested to see Megan. Unfortunately, after they just announced that it was PG-13, I kind of lost all interest because I saw the trailer and I was like, so basically Child's Play 2019 with a girl doll. And the only part about that trailer that has gone viral to where everybody keeps talking about it is when she's doing like the little dance moves and shit and doing a little jig when she's holding the machete. And so everybody's like, what the fuck is this? But it could have been a really goofy, wild rated R bloodbath. But unfortunately, PG-13, I'm like, okay, so it's probably not going to be all that memorable. And unfortunately, that looks like that's going to be my birthday movie because it comes out the weekend of after my birthday. I always get fucked. January birthdays, man. What was your time management strategy making videos back when you had other job? What are some qualities of other YouTubers you admire? Example, Uncle Sean. I admire you for honesty, humor, and workflow. I don't admire nothing about none of those other fools. I'm just kidding. What was your time management strategy? Treat it like a job. Treat it like it was my side job. I would work, I would come home, I would shower, I would change, I would come in here, I would try to record, or if I had a weekend where we weren't doing something, I would try to record 2 or 3 videos during the weekend and just edit them throughout the week. But always have something that I'm working on. I always try to get something done. Even if I'm really exhausted, I would come in and just do a thumbnail or something. I always feel like I've accomplished something. And so I pretty much just did it like that. What are some qualities of other YouTubers you admire? Uncle Sean. So for the longest time, I always admired Uncle Sean's ability to kind of experiment and try new things. Like we started around the same time, but he was the one experimenting with live streams and experimenting with podcasts and the movie trivia shows. And I was just kind of keeping it basic and trying to figure out the small stuff. And he was always kind of shooting for the stars. But I also admire the fact that Sean, which I have the same principle, he's never let his status change him. He's never let the fact that he's, multiple 100,000 subscribers look down on the little guy. If somebody that has 15 subscribers asks him to do a collab or something like that, as long as he has the time, he'll probably do it. I've seen him do it numerous times with smaller channels. And so that's something that I always kind of practice myself too. I can't stand it when people or channels get to a certain point and then they only acknowledge those that are above a certain benchmark. Like there was somebody I saw on Twitter and they were asking like, hey, and this is a channel that had like a couple million subscribers. They're like, hey, who do you think's what's an underrated channel that you think needs more attention? And they named a channel that has a few million subscribers. And I was just like, what the fuck? They don't need your help. How about you watch some of the channels that are up and coming or a couple of years old or whatever and throw a little bone to those guys. And so I always try to view people just as people, not as a subscriber number. And a lot of my best friends, a lot of people that I like working with the most, don't have a ton of subscribers, but I don't care. It doesn't really, I don't see them as a number. I just see them as people that I enjoy, people that I like and respect. So I always try to remember where I came from. I always try to make sure that I maintain the ability to help out people the way that would have been invaluable to me when I was starting out, and not ever let a number change me. And that's something that I see a lot of in Uncle Sean. As far as qualities of other YouTubers, I mean, I love CP's stubborn ability to edit the fuck out of any video to where anything that he does, he's got to make it ready to submit to a film festival. I admire Brian's tenacity. How he's always he picks these things that he wants to go die on the hill for, and that motherfucker will die bloody on that hill. And so there's a lot of things about a lot of the YouTubers and friends that I have that I always admire. Too much to get into right now, but hopefully I answered your question enough. Has the Batman taken over Winter Soldier as your favorite comic book film? I don't know. Too early to tell. It's close. Has the potential to. Can you see Half-Life game, movie, even a horror twist? Half-Life is another one where I think would work better as a TV series. I only have experience playing Half-Life 2, so I don't know how simple Half-Life 1 is in the story, but Half-Life 2, I could see a good 8-episode series getting made out of that game because there's a lot of different things going on. But Half-Life is one. Shit, I just want another fucking game. Where's Half-Life 3? What the fuck? Half-Life is like the Eddie Murphy of video games. They're on top and they just fucking disappear. Dylan, thank you so much. Hey, Long Island iced tea. That's a good one too. That is a good one. But it has to be made correctly because I have had some delicious, delicious Long Island iced teas. Dangerously delicious, where you don't even realize you're getting fucked up because you're just like, ooh, this is good. And I have had some ass Long Island iced teas where I can't even drink more than a sip of it. I'm like, I'm done, dude. You fucked this up. You would love A Clockwork Orange. It stars Malcolm McDowell as the main character who played Loomis in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. Those movies aren't the best, but he was the best part of them. Yeah, I'm aware of Clockwork Orange. I just one of those movies I haven't had the time or haven't taken the time to watch. I'm one of those guys. Like, you have that meme out there to where, I have all these movies behind me, and there's probably 100 or more that I have not seen that I have bought. And anytime I have time to watch whatever I want, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to grab a movie I've already seen 20 times versus something new. I'm just one of those guys. Do you think physical media will become more of a niche market like vinyl? I know John Campia stopped doing disc years ago. I switched for convenience. I don't know. I think that it seems like there's so much passion out there for physical media that I don't think it's ever going to go the way of vinyl, because vinyl basically went away for a long time and only started to come back over maybe the past 10 years. But I don't think physical media is ever really going to go away. It's going to slow down. You're going to get smaller spaces in stores. It might go exclusively online at some point. But when you have companies like Arrow and Shout Factory and like that are just putting so much time and energy into these physical media sets, that I don't think it's ever going to go away. Niche, that might be an appropriate word, but yeah. As a Friday the 13th fanatic, it makes me very happy to see how much you've grown to love the final chapter, one of the best slashes of all time. Yeah, I've always liked that one, but here recently, that's the one that when I think of Friday the 13th now, my mind automatically goes to that one. Hey, Cody, congrats on 100K. Recently signed up for your Patreon. Hell yeah. Pearl was my favorite of the year. Any plans to do a commentary on that? Maybe, because we did a X commentary, so maybe we'll get CP and Rudy back together and do Pearl too. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll keep that idea in mind, actually. Your editing skills are amazing. Thank you so much. I try. My birthday is the 10th, so I'm with you. At least Scream 2022 was good. Yeah, that was like the only time where I'm just like, holy shit, a good movie for my birthday. The weird that once in a while I'll get a movie where it's like one of those layover Oscar movies where they're releasing it in the beginning of the year just because of Oscar consideration. Once in a great while I'll get one of those, but 9 times out of 10 I get some bullshit horror movie or some bullshit movie. I'm just like, fuck, man, really? Like every year for my birthday, I'm just like, yeah, that was okay. That was okay. You think Joel Schumacher gets too much crap for Batman and Robin? Counting the Lost Boys, he has done some fantastic movies. Absolutely, he's done a lot of really good movies. I mean, 8mm, Flatliners, Falling Down, A Time to Kill, and The Lost Boys, of course. He's done a lot of awesome movies. But yeah, Batman and Robin, for whatever reason, is what everybody always attributes to him. And like, he can't make a movie to save his life because he made that one movie. He's definitely underappreciated. Have you seen the Death Battle with Jason versus Michael Myers? I have no idea what that is. Is that like a fan film? Hey, Cody, I know you have a shirt for every video, so my question is, how many shirts do you have and how big is your closet? Much love. I got a ton of t-shirts. I don't necessarily have a new one for every video, but I love Fright Rags. I've become a really big fan here lately of Cavity Colors and Gutter Garbs and even Terror Threads. And so whenever I see an awesome new horror shirt, it's like an addiction. I'm like, I must have it. So yeah, I've got a ton of t-shirts. I actually just recently took a whole bunch of them that don't fit anymore, ones that have shrunk over time, and I'm gonna have to give those away. So yeah, I have a ton of them. Am I caught up? Holy shit! I am caught up. Man, it feels weird. I don't often get caught up past all the super chats. And as soon as I say that, don't forget Schumacher made Batman Forever. He actually made a decent Batman movie. Yeah, that one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. Can't believe you haven't played Half-Life 1. It's one of the best games ever made. Yeah, I just missed that one. I missed the boat on it. By the time Half-Life 2 came out, I couldn't find a copy of Half-Life 1 to play. I think it was mostly on PC, which is part of the reason. I never had a good PC growing up. But Half-Life 2 I fucking loved. I bought that for the original Xbox when it came out, and I beat that game so many times. But yeah, I missed the first one. You gonna do episode reviews for Yellowstone this season? No, I probably won't do any videos on Yellowstone. It's a really good show, but I don't see those videos succeeding very well on my channel. TV stuff tends to not do all that well, with the exception of sometimes Chucky and Dexter, when everybody got really angry and they're like, oh, this guy's angry too. Congrats on 100K subs. I've been watching ever since your original ranking of the TCM movies. I was always a huge fan of you. Will you ever review the rest of the Romero of the Dead movies? I will. That's the only review series that's still kind of left hanging. I only had 2 left, I think. That's one of the things that I'm thinking about for this year, is having some themed months. I really want to have a vampire and werewolf month, and then a zombie month. So if I do that, if I go forward with that idea on Zombie Month, I'll probably review like the original or the remake of Dawn of the Dead and a couple of the movies I haven't reviewed yet, and then finish up the Romero of the Deads and do a ranking. Do you speed run any video games? Not really. The only times really that I speed run something is if I'm trying to get a platinum trophy. Like when I was playing Resident Evil Village when it first came out, I beat that game like 7 times in a row. So after the second or third time I beat it, I mean, I was able to just fly through it. And when I was trying to get the platinum for Resident Evil 2 and 3, same thing. I could speed run through Resident Evil 3 in about an hour. So it's not really something that I like to. I have like a hobby of doing, or I do any videos for, but only when I'm trophy hunting. Favorite thumbnail you've made for a video? I was really proud of that ranking the timelines thumbnail that I made a couple of weeks ago for Halloween. I thought that one turned out really well. I made that whole thing from scratch with the timeline and the poster markers and the pumpkin and everything. So yeah, once in a while I come up with one where I'm like, damn, that looks really good. Hope people click on it. Do you think Halloween Ends will age well with time? Well, only time will tell. I think it's going to be one of those movies that once people calm down on it, I think that the people that are hailing it as this masterpiece are going to chill out on it a bit and be like, you know what, it's good, but it's not, it doesn't stick with me as much as the others. And the people that are like ready to sacrifice people to the fucking altar for how bad it is are going to chill out and be like, okay, it's not necessarily for me, but it's not like ruining my life. But yeah, it's going to be one that I think over time will have a little bit of a cult following to it, but it'll always be one of those controversial movies in the franchise. You think we'll get any more Uncharted games? I would be shocked if we don't. I mean, that's a really, really high profile, very successful franchise. So I would be shocked if they had no plans to do any more. I don't know if we're necessarily going to get any more with Nathan Drake, but I thought that The Lost Legacy was an awesome game and that they could carry on the franchise very easily with the side characters, in my opinion. When is your next MCU ranking? That's how I got into your channel, and I would love to hear opinions on the newer stuff as well as any newer thoughts on the older stuff. I have one planned for the 13th. That's the weekend that Wakanda Forever comes out. And yeah, I don't know. I plan to do a ranking on the movies for sure. I don't think I'm going to include the TV series because, first of all, I don't like ranking movies against TV series. I don't think that it makes any sense, but I haven't enjoyed any of the Disney Plus Marvel stuff. I've tried to watch Hawkeye, didn't get into it. Tried to watch Loki, didn't get into it. I didn't even bother with She-Hulk. I watched one episode at Sean's house. Wasn't my thing. I have no interest in watching Miss Marvel. And so there's a lot of them where I'm just like, whatever. So I will do a movie ranking though. And like I said, it's planned for the 13th and it should be done at the 13th. So I doubt it's going to be a thing that I'll have to postponed at all. I haven't done one in a couple years. So that'll be cool. Did you play the Shadows of Rose DLC? I have. I liked the Shadow of Rose side story, the little story mission or whatever. It was a little underwhelming, but it was fun. I liked the mannequin section. That was pretty creepy. Narratively, though, it didn't really add much to the game. That was where it was disappointing. It was just kind of like this side story that, ends in a spot that we've already been. And so I thought that it was going to add something to the end of Village, and it didn't. Playing Village in 3D, I speed runned. I did a little 3.5 hour run through Village in third person, and it's cool. They pull it off pretty well. I don't think the game is nearly as effective in third person, nearly as tense in third person, but for anybody that can't play first person or anybody that refuses for whatever stupid ass reason, now you can play the game. So yeah, it for DLC, it's pretty good. Is Chucky wearing a fancy hat in your background? He's wearing a Heisenberg hat. I had Heisenberg hat for my reviews, and I used it for a Halloween costume one year, and so I just stuck it on Chucky. I think it looks cool. Big fan, loved your review series on Better Call Saul. Do you think the universe should end there? Yeah, I don't think there's any need to do any more. But then again, I didn't think there was any need to do any more after Breaking Bad, and I loved El Camino. I loved Better Call Saul, so I don't see them. I don't see Vince Gilligan coming back and doing more. I think he wants to do other things now, and I'm all for that. Best movie or movies adapted from a book? Oh God, dude, I'm the wrong person to ask. I guess some of the Stephen King ones, The Shining, Pet Sematary, Christine, Misery. Hey Cody, I recently subbed to your channel. I gotta say, I love your brutally honest takes, especially on horror movies. I wish more people would stop being so scared to shit on bad movies. Keep it up. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try not to judge other people's stuff too much because they might honestly just have the opinion that they gave. I do know for a fact I see some people that feel like that they cater to the crowd a bit. They tend to go with the popular opinion, and if they go against the popular opinion, I've seen them retract it and then eventually go to the popular opinion. For me, I just give my honest thoughts, and whether I land in the popular opinion or I land on an island by myself, it doesn't really matter to me. That's what I thought. So to me, it doesn't make any sense to do anything else. If you're coming to my channel to hear my opinion on my experience with a movie, why the fuck would you expect me to say anything else but that? So glad you enjoy the brutally honest takes, but I think it's a shame that more people don't take that route. Let's see here. You are a trendsetter. Everyone did a ranking the timelines video after you. You the man. Yeah, see, I don't know. That's a thing where I have to keep my mouth shut and not say too much, because I announced I was doing the ranking the timelines video, and I was really excited, and that was the ranking I was looking forward to the most. And I saw a couple of channels do it before I even got mine out that I know for a fact watch my channel, and I'm like, did you do that just because you heard me announce it, or did you already have that idea? Because you never said anything about that, but I don't know. That's not the most original idea in the world. So I definitely don't want to be that guy who's like, that was mine. But I just turned my nose a little bit. I was like, wait a minute. I said I was doing that later in the month. Did you purposely just jump the gun to get ahead? But nonetheless, like I said, I can't say too much. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, I've seen it. It was a cool idea. It was a cool idea I hadn't seen anybody do. And so I'm glad that even if somebody was inspired by my video, I'm glad people liked the idea enough to do their own, because I thought it was a really fun way to rank the series. Congrats on 100K. I know you said that opening a video, hitting the like button, and closing it hurts the channel, but what about watching a video in stages? For example, I watched your last 31 on 31 debrief over 6 sittings. Is that bad? I don't know. I mean, is one person viewing the video going to hurt it or really change much? Not really, but I can't imagine it helps, because it's every single time you log in and watch the video, you're basically telling YouTube you were only interested in whatever segment you watched. But I don't expect everybody to watch every single one of my videos in one setting, especially that one that's an hour and 15 minutes long. So I get it. It's not a big deal. But to your point, though, that's the biggest one that I think is the misconception that a lot of people have is that if I post a video or any channel posts a video that you're not interested in watching, clicking it, hitting the like button and closing it and never watching the video does not help at all. So it's more helpful to not even click on the video if you're not interested in it. Half-Life was originally released on PC, but was re-released on PS2. There are multiple versions on Steam if you have it. Okay. Yeah, at the time I think it was only on PC, which was a no-go for me. Hey Cody, congrats on 100K. Been with you since 2019. Thoughts on Mike Doherty's Trick or Treat and Krampus? Been waiting on Trick or Treat 2 for years. I love Trick or Treat. Krampus didn't do a whole lot for me. I bought the naughty cut or whatever they called it, and I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, Krampus didn't do much. Trick or Treat, though, I was years late on discovering that one, but that's probably my favorite anthology movie. What did you think of Motley Crue going forward without Mick Mars? I don't know, man. I mean, some of those bands need to retire, but some of those bands refuse to retire. I mean, Motley Crue possibly did the most theatrics ever when it came to retiring and signing contracts. Were never coming back, and then they came back. And we went to go see them. We were at the very first show in Atlanta, Georgia, of the Motley Crue Def Leppard tour. So it was cool to be able to see them. Motley Crue was the weakest of all the bands there. But Mick Mars, he can't do it anymore. And so it would be interesting to see John 5 with them just for the appeal of seeing that. But, they're a band where their best days are far behind them. So them going forward to continue the tour that they've already committed to makes sense. But if they're going to continue to record or tour again, I think that would be a little silly. What's impressive about your takes is that you give a negative take without being a hate-driven channel. Yeah, and some people would beg to differ. Some people think that I hate everything. I had a guy trying to argue with me the other day. Like, all you do is bitch. You're going to bitch all the way to 2023. And I'm like, yeah, most of my reviews are positive. So what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, I've never wanted to be one of those channels. I would never want to be mentioned alongside one of those channels that are just here to hate on everything. And I don't even need to name the channels. We all know them. All the thumbnails are the same. Every title, everything that they talk about is just riling people up to get views. And what a miserable fucking existence those people have. Knowing your love for Lost Boys, what are your thoughts on the other two Corey's movies, Dream and Drive? Have you ever seen 1986's Lucas? You're talking about Dream a Little Dream and License to Drive? License to Drive, I absolutely love. I've never seen Dream a Little Dream, actually. I almost watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I decided not to. And 1986's Lucas has always been one of my favorites. That is an absolute comfort movie for me. There's a little bit of weirdness to it now because of the accusation that Corey Feldman made about Charlie Sheen on the set of that movie. I don't know if it's true or not. No, none of us probably ever will. But as a movie with that removed, I have always adored that movie. And it's on HBO Max because I actually watched it just a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, that's always been one of my favorites. I saw that on the Disney Channel when I was a kid, and I watched it just because it said Corey Haim. And I was like, I know him. And I've always loved it. Couldn't get through Rob Zombie's The Munsters. It was terrible, and I love Rob Zombie. What's your thoughts? On the Munsters or Rob Zombie? I've kind of talked about it ad nauseum over the past month. The Munsters was okay. It wasn't very good. Rob Zombie, he has some things about him that I really like and respect. I hate his writing, though. And I would only give a positive review, and not an overwhelmingly positive review, but a positive review to 3 of his movies. Halloween 2, The Devil's Rejects, and The Lords of Salem. But other than that, yeah, he's a guy that makes movies for him. There's some people that love it and adore it and live and die by it, but most of his stuff doesn't really appeal to me. Let's see here. Congrats on 100K. I started watching you since you released your first Halloween ranking and have been a fan ever since. Recently became a Patreon earlier this year and can't wait to see what's next. Awesome. Thank you for the support on Patreon. That helps out tremendously. What do you think of Henry Cavill coming back as Superman? Also, would you rank the Marvel movies by the phases? And what's your opinion about the new Ant-Man movie that's coming out? Probably not with the Marvel ranking by the phases. I'm not somebody that has a ton of views when it comes to Marvel stuff, so I think doing more of a niche ranking like that would not be very popular. That's something that would be much better on Sean's channel. What do you think of Henry Cavill coming back as Superman? I think it's awesome. I think it's long overdue, and I'm very excited to see what they end up doing with it. And my opinion on the new Ant-Man movie, it looks fine. It looks much more big, large scale than the other Ant-Man movies, which is going to be interesting because the Ant-Man movies till now were kind of like the small, mid-level Marvel movies. They're just little heist films, and this one looks bananas. So we shall see. Off the top of your head, rank the decades in terms of horror. Oh, Lord. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. 80s is the top. Put 70s right below that. 2000s below that, and then the 2010s, and then the 90s probably last. But I'm just off the top of my head. That could be completely false. But 80s is certainly my favorite no matter what. I can tell you that. Will Meister, I also have January birthday before Scream. I think Escape Room was the most recent decent January movie we got and was obviously supposed to come out the previous year. Yeah, that one was okay. That one was okay. I had a decent time with it. I still haven't watched the sequel. It sucks that people believe you and some other channels and people are hate-driven channels just because you don't say every single movie is absolute perfection. Well, unfortunately, that is the way that it goes for some people. Some people think that you have to be eternally positive about everything, otherwise you're a negative hate monger. Some people just don't like you because you're successful, so if you just shit on one thing, they think you're just a dick that shits on everything. I mean, I've never had a person that seems like they have their head screwed on straight that try to make that argument with me, so I don't really take too much care into giving them any time. Happy 100K. Thank you so much, Devin. Will you play God of War on your gaming channel? Most likely. I haven't done anything too much with the gaming channel, so since it's been kind of lackluster with games, so I probably will do something. God of War is a game that I think that I could probably have fun streaming and especially doing some of the side quests and stuff like that. You know, movies that are more narratively driven or games that are more narratively driven, especially horror games. I don't like to stream too much because I kind of want to get engrossed in the experience. But God of War, I don't think would be a game that I would mind doing that. So most likely. Oh, hey, my mother-in-law has dropped by. I never doubted that you would do great in all this YouTube stuff. I love you. Can't wait to see you continue to rise to the top. Thank you so much, Nana. I love you too. I hope that Holly brought you your birthday present because me and Riley bought you something on your birthday, and I've been reminding her to bring it to you. So if you did not receive it today, put your foot up your daughter's ass. Okay, but do you like Rob Zombie as a musician? I do, but I like his older stuff. I'm not really that enamored with anything he's done lately. I love some of the White Zombie stuff. I love his first album, a lot of songs off his second album, and that's really about it. He's had a couple of good songs since then, but his golden era was right there around the Dragula, Living Dead Girl, stuff like that, in my opinion. Thoughts on Groundhog Day and Fargo, my comfort films. Fargo's okay. I was a much bigger fan of the TV show than I was the movie. Groundhog Day, I love, though. That's a classic Bill Murray comedy, so I love that one. Fun fact, my wife despises any movie that is similar to Groundhog Day. Any time loop movie where you have to go over the same scenario, over and over and over again, she hates it and just starts fucking getting livid about it. Which video are you most proud of how it turned out? Also, are you going to do a review for each episode of The Last of Us? Can't wait for that. Yeah, I plan to do a review for each episode for sure. It depends on how I get access to it. If I can get a screener access and watch the whole season, then I'll probably do a season review before the show comes out, but probably will still do episode reviews or whatever. But even if I can't get a screener, I'll do episode by episode for sure. So yes, I plan to. Which video am I most proud of? I still really love the first Pitch Wars video, which is another concept I'd love to bring back in 2023. But the one that I did with Durbin, when we were talking about DC movies, I just love the way that it came out with me and him telling our different scripts and Durbin's energy. And I really loved my Batman script and the way that I edited it together, I think was really fun. So that's still one that I'm pretty proud of. Have you ever played A Plague Tale: Innocence and Requiem? They're like the indie version of The Last of Us. I actually never heard of Innocence, but Requiem was dropped on Game Pass. And so I downloaded it just blindly out of curiosity. And I beat that game and I really enjoyed it. I plan on doing a review on it. But yeah, The Last of Us, that's what I was telling other people about it. I was trying to tell Rudy, I was like, it's kind of like The Last of Us, but like in the 14th century. So yeah, I highly recommend checking those out. And I played Requiem just fine. I just did like a little recap video on YouTube on what happened in Innocence. So if you guys are curious, if you have Game Pass, check out A Plague Tale: Requiem. Once you get to the part where you start to have like the rat plague puzzles and stuff, it really turns into a really cool, unique game. I haven't been over there yet. Stop. Well, you've been out of the house numerous times, but you just haven't made the priority of taking your mother her belated birthday present. That would have been an on-time birthday present, but you failed. MS Mont, funny story. It was just last week after 40 years as a horror fan that I realized that Don Mancini and Tom Savini were two different people. Two very different people. That would be hilarious if they were the same person, though. Like, the guy that did all those effects is the guy who's writing Chucky? That's fucking weird. What are your family's favorite scary movies? I mean, Riley's really the only one of my kids that has, like, passionate horror opinions so far, and she's only 6. Her favorite is Scream, the first Scream. That was, like, her introduction to horror. I was watching it when I was reviewing them, and she just got enamored with it, and she's loved it ever since. My middle kid, my daughter Bella, she likes horror a lot, but I haven't really heard her say which one is really her favorite or anything like that. And Shane, he's kind of quiet about movie stuff. You know, comic book, anime, that's kind of where you'll start to hear him open his mouth a bit. But yeah, Riley loves Scream. Even my wife, you know, she likes a lot of horror movies that she watches with me. Not so much the older, campier ones, but I don't think I've ever heard her say which one is her favorite. I know she likes The Shining and stuff like that, so maybe The Shining, but she's more of a classic Disney person. Halloween 4 is a great movie. What would you fix about it if you had the chance? The mask. The mask. That's really all that needs to be fixed. Fix the mask. The movie goes up like a whole star. That fucking mask sucks. And it's hard to take the movie seriously when Myers looks like a fucking dope. Did I hear you say you were doing a zombie month? Now, that's a breeze in hell. You mentioned Romero Dead series, but what about the series within that series, namely Return of the Living Dead? Yeah, like movies like that. I'd like to have a month where I just kind of do movies all based on a theme. I think that would be fun to do for a change it up a bit. So, no promises because it just depends how the year goes, but that is something that I would like to do. You think some enjoy new films less because of unrealistic judgments? Like, for example, if a movie is not Goodfellas or The Godfather quality, then it sucks. I mean, some people might be that way, but those people are stupid. If you walk into every movie expecting it to be one of the best of all time, you're never going to like anything because there's a reason why we say those are the best of all time and they're rarities because they are. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some people that go in with that mentality, but that's you're fucking yourself if that's the way that you go about watching movies. Scariest game you've ever played? Probably, I mean, the first Silent Hill was scary as fuck back when I was a kid on PS1, but scariest game I've ever played is probably whenever I was playing Resident Evil Biohazard in the VR. I got the PlayStation VR and I played that whole game for the very first time in VR, the whole game. And so I didn't know what was around any corner. I didn't know where things were going. And I made Holly and I made the other kids try it. Shane couldn't even, Shane at the time was probably, I don't know, 10, something like that. And we were putting the little earbuds on him. And as soon as we put it on him, he just started crying. He just started crying just because of the ambient noise of what was going on in the game. He was just in a hallway, but he started crying, and we're like, "Give me the fucking VR, go away, crybaby." So yeah, that was intense. Hmm. All right, caught up on super chats again. Let's see. Have you ever seen the Fear Street series? Do you ever play? You ever plan to review the Reanimator series? I do plan to review the Reanimator series at some point. A couple years ago during October, I had planned to do it, but I just ran out of time with work. And I have reviewed all three of the Fear Street movies. I watched those on press screeners before they even released on Netflix. So all three of those are on my channel somewhere. Cody, thanks to you, my mom likes Freddie and Chucky, and she's in her 70s. You're one of her favorite YouTubers. Hell yeah! Good on you, mom. Let's see here. If you can handle Scream at a young age, you're in for life. Oh, yeah. She's in for life. She loves horror. Congrats on hitting 100K, getting the plaque. At the end of the year, do you plan on talking all the noteworthy 2022 horror releases? I have two videos planned for the end of the year, one of which is going to be ranking all of the horror films of 2022 that I have seen. And I'm going to have one where I'm going to, for the first time ever, I'm going to rank all of the new release films that I've seen. I'd never watched enough movies to merit doing a video like that. And I've seen about 65 movies in the theaters this year, including some movies that I've seen in streaming services. So yeah, that's more than enough movies to do like a big fat ass ranking at the end of all of the movies that were released this year. So you'll get those during the last couple weeks of December, most likely. Let's see. I didn't see The Woman King. I was busy at the time, didn't really look all that appealing to me, so that's one of the few new releases this year that I didn't see. Any thoughts on Sonic Frontiers? Are you going to play it? It depends on what the reviews say. I'm not typically one that makes my decisions off of reviews, but when it costs $60 to $70 to play a game, I tend to listen to those. I'm a big fan of the early Sonic games, but Sonic has struggled ever since the side-scrolling Genesis days. Aside from maybe Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, but Sonic has not had a good run. And Sonic Frontiers has looked really interesting because it's open world. And so it looks like this might be the one. This might be the one to kind of get Sonic back on track. But I haven't seen or heard anything about it, and it comes out in a couple of days. So that has me concerned. So if the reviews are all like, yeah, not so much, then I probably won't. But if they're all saying that's pretty good, then I'm definitely interested in checking it out. Are you excited for the Silent Hill 2 remake? I remain skeptical because Konami could still screw it up. I can't remember if I answered this question in my patron Q&A earlier today or earlier in this Q&A, but the Silent Hill 2 remake announcement kind of pissed me off because it angered me that they are skipping over the first game. That game desperately needs a remake because they haven't done shit to it since the PS1. Silent Hill 2 and 3 have already had a remaster. It came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And so it's going to be cool to be able to play a remake of Silent Hill 2. I'm hoping the game's going to be awesome and I'll be there day one, but it just fucking aggravates the shit out of me that they completely skipped over the first game. And they just jumped right to the second game because that one's the most popular. So now if it succeeds, what are you going to go back and do the Silent Hill 1 afterwards? That's fucking weird. All right. Absolutely love the content and how you've helped me to see films in a different view. I'm so grateful to have found Frailty because of you. Awesome. I love Frailty. Since I watched your interview with Rudy, I have a newfound love and respect for you. I can relate a lot. So much respect, bro, especially for your honesty. You're the man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have an interview that I did as well with Christian Hannah Horror, or I believe they rebranded as Planet CHH. Yeah, the UNITA horror podcast. with Christian and Nick. We did an interview episode last night. He said he was going to get it out today. I haven't seen it just yet, but you'll have another video that I'm answering a lot of questions coming out here very soon. So I'll let you guys know. I'll share that around whenever it drops. Do you like Summer of '84? I love Summer of '84. I just got the 4K in yesterday, actually. That was one of my favorite movies that year. I liked it more than Halloween 2018 that year. So I think Summer of '84 was my #1 horror film of 2018. And everybody was like, what the fuck? More than Halloween? What the fuck? Yes, bitch. More than Halloween. Are you shocked we haven't gotten a Nightmare on Elm Street movie or game? Well, I could give a fuck about a game, but yeah, I'm shocked we haven't got a movie. I'm shocked that there's more traction going on with Friday the 13th right now than there is Nightmare on Elm Street, because Nightmare on Elm Street was not stuck in courts for years. So yeah, it's depressing as a Freddy fan to know that just nothing going on with it. And why, I have no idea. Thoughts on Student Bodies from 1981? I have never heard of it. I've never heard of it. Let's see. Let's see. Did you ever see Don Mancini's idea for a Chucky Freddy movie that could be neat? No, nor would I ever want to see that. Nor would I ever want to see that. It's not a... Freddy versus Jason, I think, was awesome, and that's one of the few team-up movies that would make sense to me. I think there was a way that they could have got Michael in on the action if they had capitalized and did a sequel pretty soon after that, but they didn't. Freddy and Chucky would be weird. That would be a complete slapstick joke fest. So no. Do you like Wolfman Got Nards? Him and I have a history that is not good. We'll just say that. Are you a fan of any classic rock such as Pink Floyd or the Beatles? Yes, absolutely. More so Pink Floyd than the Beatles. Comfortably Numb is one of my favorite songs of all time. Absolutely. Been a leecher since 2018. Watch your videos to kick drugs when I was going through withdrawals. So thanks for the content. Well, damn, I'm glad I could help with that. P.S. Where's our options? Where's our opinions are like assholes t-shirts? There is one. That's another thing at the beginning of the year that I'm going to revamp. I'm going to revamp my merch because I've bought a couple of my I've brought a couple of my t-shirts off of the store, and after washing it a couple of times, the graphic has come off. I haven't really had any people message me with complaints, but I don't know if maybe I just got a bad t-shirt that time, or if unfortunately a couple other people that have bought my shirts have had the same problem. So I want to try to find a different company to use them, because I don't like the fact that I'm selling something that is not quality. But there's not a whole lot of options out there unless you're going to pay money and go with private companies. So I'm going to try to do that and revamp my t-shirts and kind of promote that more. But I do have an Opinions Are Like Assholes t-shirt on my store right now. So if you go to spring.com and go to my store, there is one. But yeah, that's another thing that for sure is going to be revamped a bit in the new year. Do you want one of the kids to roll in a water for you? No, I'm only going to go to 2 hours, so I'll be fine with what I got left here. My tooth's starting to bother me. So yeah, I'm going to cut off at 2 hours, guys. What standalone slasher from the 80s should get a remake? I'd like to see an Intruder remake. That'd be interesting. Intruder. The Burning would be a really cool one. It's not really a slasher movie, but I really would like to see somebody do a modern metal remake on Trick or Treat. I think that would be a lot of fun. Let's see. Did you hate Stray because of your tone when you mentioned it in your Last of Us remake video? No, I didn't hate it. It was fine. It just lost my interest. Every video game that I played after Elden Ring and I did the review just kind of held my interest for about this long, and then I just got bored with it. So yeah, I don't remember what I said, but no, I didn't hate it. It's fine. Especially the fact that I didn't have to pay for it. It was on the PS Plus. Least funny comedy you've seen in the cinema. I don't know, man. I haven't seen there's been very, very few good comedies over the past 10 years, to be honest with you. So, um, I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Heard Trick or Treat 2 is in development. Well, I was talking about Trick or Treat from 1986. But yes, I believe they're moving on the Trick or Treat sequel, which is cool. A remake of The Prowler would have to use an Iraq War vet instead of a World War II vet, since a World War II vet would be too frail to be a slasher villain. Yeah, I couldn't get into The Prowler. That's a movie that everybody was telling me was amazing back when I first bought it, and I fell asleep on that movie in the first 15 minutes 5 times before I finally made it all the way through it, and I just was not a fan. Let's see here. Are you going to watch Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey? I'm sure I'm going to watch it and review it, but I am not looking forward to it. It seems extremely silly to me. Seems very gimmicky. Did you like Until Dawn? Until Dawn was pretty cool. The only thing about it that I didn't like was that there was a lot of times where you would make a fateful decision that would completely impact the game, and they wouldn't tell you you were making that decision, or wouldn't tell you the significance of a quick time moment or whatever, and you can't go back. And so there were so many times where I would get a character killed or something like that, and I was like, I didn't want to do that, and you can't go back. And so it frustrated me because you have to go basically through the whole story, and you can restart and do it again. But it was a movie, or it was a game that I liked, but I just felt by the end of it, I had a really, really shitty ending, and I was like, ugh, so many moments that should have been better. Congrats on 100K. Just wanted to say thank you for the content I was doing. I was going during dark time, but found some light because your content. Thank you. Awesome. It's good to hear. Didn't know she shared the same birthday. Okay. Let's see. After the success of the new Hellraiser, how would you like the story to evolve in the next one? I loved it personally, but people's big complaints is on the gore. I don't know. Just continue forward with what they've built already, really. I don't have any specific thoughts. I'm not passionate enough about Hellraiser to have any like stories or anything specific I want to see them do. I just really liked the direction of the new one. I liked the tone of it. I thought the gore was really good. Could have used more, but I thought it was good. I loved all the Cenobite designs. So as long as they stick with it, um, I'm game for whatever they're doing. Let's see here. If you close your application really fast when a character dies, it won't count and you'll start at your most recent checkpoint. That's how I got the Everyone Lives trophy. Yeah, see, I didn't know that. And so every time I was just like, fuck, you didn't have like a restart. Otherwise, I would have done that. Because there's times where you're doing a quick time event or whatever, and you screw up, and then all of a sudden a character's dead. And you're like, well, fuck, I didn't want to do that. And so, yeah, I've played better games like that. You know, I've played better story-based games like that than Until Dawn. So, and I could not get through the quarry to save my life. I barely struggled through the first 3 hours, and I was just like, I fucking give up. This game's boring as shit. Oh, let's see. Would you rather get a sequel to the 2019 remake or keep on going with the show? I would rather get a sequel to the remake, but I am a big fan of the remake of Friday the 13th. Like Heavy Rain. Exactly. Heavy Rain is one of the best versions of those games. Maybe my favorite. For the Resident Evil 4 remake, I know one of your biggest hopes is they don't cut much of the game, but if they were to cut anything, what would you be comfortable with being removed? Hopefully nothing is. They can cut the Ashley segment where you have to play as Ashley down in the dungeon with all you have is a flashlight. They can cut that. They can trim the village segment a little bit because there's quite a few repetitive segments in there where you're running from boulders and shit like that. But there's just no big segment that I want them to cut entirely. Like Resident Evil 3, you felt that entire clock tower and worm segment just completely gone from the game. And that game is, once you beat it once, like I said, I can speed run through Resident Evil 3 in an hour. That's a short fucking game. Resident Evil 4 is the longest of the Resident Evil games, probably. Maybe aside from Resident Evil 6, but there's also 4 campaigns where Resident Evil 4 is just one. So it's the longest as far as one campaign. But what are they going to cut? They're not going to cut anything from the village part, I don't think. And so you have the castle segment. I don't want anything cut from that. I don't want the island cut. I haven't seen anything about Krauser. I don't know if they're going to cut any specific bosses or anything, but unless they're going to add something significant that is the same length or the same merit as what they take out, I think they're just going to only piss people off if they remove stuff. It's going to be like, okay, cool. This looks new. This looks modern. That's cool, but you're missing some of my favorite parts. And that was what a lot of people really didn't like about Resident Evil 3, because Resident Evil 3 is a really good game, but it's just short. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? You did nothing but enhance Resident Evil 2. Why did you rush Resident Evil 3 and cut out a whole segment? So that is the one game in the franchise that if you're going to do a remake for, you definitely want to do it right. You don't want to piss the Resident Evil 4 fans off. What month is your next Patreon pick? Well, this month we have the top 10 movies from 1980. Unfortunately, September and October were just way too fucking busy. I couldn't get it out. But now with November, I'm taking a chill month. I'm just focusing on the John Carpenter series, one other review series that I haven't announced yet, and the top 10 movies from 1980 that everybody voted on back in September will be debuting this month, and then we'll go from there. So I'll probably vote again in December for a new one. Salazar's right hand segment is going to be terrifying. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's a small little segment of the game that they might decide to just get rid of because it's just this tiny little connective tissue segment. But that's a really important segment in that game for people that love the game. So, it's scary to think what whoever's in charge of that game is going to think is a dispensable part, because for somebody, that's going to be their favorite part of the game. Resident Evil 4, I think it comes out in March. Should Resident Evil 9 be the final game of the franchise? No. I mean, if as long as they can keep going. Why cut it off? I think it needs to be the final game in the Ethan Winters storyline. I think they need to either go back to the new characters as older characters or do something. But no, I don't necessarily think Resident Evil needs to end at 9. Final Destination holds up so well. Haven't seen the sequels. I've seen all of them. Final Destination 2 used to be my favorite, but I rewatched it not too long ago, and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, this doesn't hold up as well. Final Destination 3 is okay. 4 is dog shit, and 5 is pretty good. So the sequels are worth checking out. Do you hope we get our Welcome to Raccoon City sequel? Do you think it will happen? I don't. I don't think it was successful enough to merit one. I think they fucked themselves by trying to do 2 movies at once. I would like to see it because I think they succeeded with more than they fucked up in that movie, but and they took the right approach. They just unfortunately tried to do too much in one movie. Do you have the Halloween Ends mask? I got one and it's fucking amazing. Nope, this is the only one that I need right now. I have others, but this one is my favorite. A fan sent this to me. It's a hand redone version of the Kills mask. And it's the Trick or Treat mask that he redid, repainted, redid the hair himself and everything, and it looks fucking awesome. So I like the Kills mask a lot, as well as the 2018 mask. The Ends mask is just a yellower version of this, and so I didn't even feel the need to re-rank the masks because I was just like, okay, well, it's the same mask. It just looks a little dingier. You missed a super chat by Richie. Uh-oh. Where is that at? I heard that Pinhead was going to be in Freddy versus Jason at the end. What's your opinion about that? That could have been cool. Yeah, I don't remember that. I think that would have been an early draft or something where they were fighting and all of a sudden chains pulled them apart and Pinhead shows up. What seems to be the problem, gentlemen? Something like that. Could have been cool. It would have been epic for horror fans. It'd have been like, oh, fuck, yeah. We shared the same birthday, my bad. Oh, I know what you meant, but that's cool. Have you seen any animes? No, it's not my thing. My two older kids love anime, and it's not for me. Have you played any Crash Bandicoot? Yeah, I grew up on the first 3 games. I tried to play a little bit of 4. Didn't hold my interest. Let's see here. Did you pick up that Child's Play 4K set from Scream Factory? I did. I picked up. It was the one just below the one that had the NECA figure. I didn't want that one, so I got the one that came with the posters and stuff. But I got all 3 of them. They all look good too. I've watched all 3 of them. Favorite Edgar Wright movie? By a landslide, it's Baby Driver. I loved Baby Driver. I'm actually one of the few people that don't love Shaun of the Dead. I've watched it a few times. I don't quite get it. Final Destination review series. Once the new one comes out, I'll definitely do that. They keep talking about it being in production, so it can't be more than a year or so away. And I'll definitely be doing a whole series once that comes out. Because, yeah, those are movies that would be fun to review. Are you going to continue the Fright Night review series? Well, I've only reviewed the first one. I mean, I'd like to review the other ones, yeah. It wasn't necessarily a review series, but yeah, I definitely want to talk about Fright Night Part 2 because I feel like nobody talks about that movie, and I love the remake. That other one, though, the one that has, what's her name, Lila, pardon my tits chick from Dexter. Ooh, that's a rough one. Hey, Celise, how you doing? Thank you so much. Everybody go to Sweet and Spooky and hit subscribe, all 386 of you, now. Are you a sports guy? If so, what are your teams? I am the farthest thing from a sports guy. I've never enjoyed sports. I can watch fighting if I have to and enjoy that for what it is, but yeah, I don't know. My dad was a hardcore Detroit Lions fan back in the day, and every Sunday was just him screaming and cussing and throwing shit at the TV, and so it turned me off at a young age, and I've never been able to get into watching sports. I don't enjoy it whatsoever. Lucas Griffin, when did horror comedies start dying down in quantity? Would you be interested in seeing more horror comedies? I know I would. Only if they're good. I mean, horror comedies are very hit and miss with me. I have a few that I love, and I have quite a few that I didn't think too much of. So they're good when they come around. It's not necessarily something I want to see turn into a trend. What is your opinion on Kevin Bacon's death sentence? The best James Wan movie. That is my opinion. That movie is fucking awesome. If you haven't seen Death Sentence, check it out. Let's see. Fright Night Part 2 original is on YouTube. Yes, it is. That's how I had to watch it. I have a Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray sound would go out once in a while. It was kind of more of a bootleggy copy, and so the one on YouTube is actually better quality. No problem, Celise. Hopefully you get a few coming over there. Are you interested in Fede Alvarez alien movie from Hulu? Hulu has been doing good with these franchises. I don't know. Is he just producing it or is he actually directing it? Fede Alvarez is weird because that dude came onto the scene like a freight train. I mean, he made Evil Dead and it was like, holy shit, where'd this guy come from? And then he made Don't Breathe. It's like, oh my God, this is the new dude. And then he's just been producing shit. He did the girl with the dragon tattoo, like pseudo sequel that was okay. But yeah, he just has his name as a producer on a lot of stuff. And I'm like, dude, fucking direct one of them. You're awesome. So yeah, I don't know. If he's directing, I'm very interested. If he's just producing, I don't know. All right. I'm going to go for like another 5 minutes, guys. Congratulations. Just for fun, which superhero would you like to see take on Michael Myers? Batman, I guess. Let's see. Since you mentioned you're from Georgia, do you have any restaurant recommendations for the Atlanta area? I'm visiting that area this month. Um, Shit, what is that place called? Hang on. I haven't ate at very many places in Atlanta, so definitely do your own research. You might be able to find some that are better than the ones I'm about to tell you about. But uh, okay, there's a place called the Vortex. It's like a burger joint. It's got a really cool decor on the outside. One of them is like a skull on one location, and they got a pretty neat little atmosphere inside. That's what one of them looks like. That little skull right there. But that place I've ate at a couple of times, and they got some pretty good burgers. Um, there was a place called Bell Street Burritos that I ate at once that was pretty good, but don't get jalapenos in your burrito because they just cut up big pieces, big chunks of jalapenos, and it's way too much. But that was really good. Um, there's a place there. Fuck, what is it called? There's a place there if you like old school diner stuff. It's like a drive-in. Um, what the hell is it called? The Varsity. If you like stuff like diner, burgers, shakes, stuff like that, the Varsity is a place that I have not been to yet, but I have wanted to go there numerous times. That's kind of what it looks like. And I've heard a lot of people that I've met that used to live in Atlanta that it's a big spot up there. There's also a place where you can get milkshakes that are like a fucking creation of artistry. I don't know what the name of it is, but yeah, any of those, I can recommend the Vortex for sure, though. All right, let's see. Who would you like to see play Wolverine? Somebody underknown, just like that Hugh Jackman was. I don't want them to throw an A-list actor into there. Like people are saying Tom Hardy and stuff, and I'm like I love Tom Hardy, but no. Let's see here. Most anticipated upcoming TV show, The Last of Us, by a landslide. Ever thought about doing your own fan film? No. I've kind of lost all of my interest in fan films in general. Way too many of them, way overexposed. They all seem to be, um, not all of them, but there's quite a few of them that seem to be very shady towards each other. Like all the different fan film directors and creators seem to all hate each other. I've had my own experience with a couple of them where they've been a little bit shady and unappealing to ever talk to or work with again. So no, I'm not somebody that should be directing anything. Like I like writing stuff, and not to say that I couldn't take my camera out there and come up with something fun just for kicks, but not something that is like, hey, pay me money, and I'm gonna make this thing. I have no directing experience. I have no filmmaking experience, no filmmaking education whatsoever that should make me in any way think that I am worth paying money to create something. So yeah, it frustrates me sometimes that you see these movies where people have dumped thousands of dollars into, and you see the end result, and you're like, "That's what you get, really? You're cool with paying for that? Okay." So yeah, not to say that I won't ever make like a short film or something fun just on my own, but I don't see myself ever doing the traditional fan film thing where I announce on my channel and I use my platform and get an Indiegogo and get people to send me thousands of dollars that I then don't know what the fuck to do with aside from hire other people and buy stuff. So yeah, not for me. How long do you need to prep for a 31 on 31? It depends. Most of the prep work is honestly just watching the movies most of the time. But me, I'm kind of a procrastinator when it comes to big projects like that. I shot and edited my 33 on 31 the night before and the morning of the release on Halloween Day, which would make CP have an aneurysm because he does editing and rendering stages and spends weeks on his. But yeah, it just depends. Like the most prep work I ever had to do was for the fantasy one because most of those movies I was watching for the very first time. where a lot of times I don't rewatch all of the movies. Like for the one that we just did, the 33 on 31, I only rewatched some of the Friday the 13th movies because I had already watched a number of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies with my daughter. I had already watched a number of the Halloween movies just leading up to Halloween. So I didn't really have to, but even if I didn't, there's only the movies that I feel like I need to refresh on. Sometimes I've seen a movie enough, like, Dream War, the Freddy franchise in general. I doubt I'm ever going to change my opinion one iota on any of those movies because I've seen them so many times. Friday the 13th and maybe a couple of the Halloween movies, potentially, like Friday the 13th, 1980 this time. I rewatch it and I'm going, oh, what is this? But yeah, it just depends. All right, let me get these super chats out the way, guys, and then I am wrapping it up. Why don't you play Dead by Daylight? Not really a big multiplayer gamer. I tend to like games to escape and just be in my own world and experience the story. I'll play a multiplayer game once in a while. Like I love Halo Infinite, so I'll throw that on once in a great while. I've kind of gotten into Fortnite a little bit due to the Chandlers. The Chandler family have indoctrinated me into the Fortnite stuff. So once in a while, as a family, we'll throw the controller around and play Fortnite for an hour or so. But yeah, I don't really get into the multiplayer games. I've been meaning to try Dead by Daylight, but I'm never going to be a guy that's going to play it that much because I'm kind of an antisocial gamer. Thanks for the videos, Cody. No problem, Alex. Congratulations. You deserve it. Thank you so much, Matthew. What was it like meeting Chris Stuckman? It was very cool. He's pretty much what you would expect, which is always good whenever you meet somebody that you've watched for a long time, that they're who you figure they would be. He seemed like a very quiet, standoff guy at first. Well, let me tell the story. Okay, so this is what I'll end on. Aside from, let me see. Okay, hang on. I will answer your question. I'll end on it. So Felix the Phantom. Hey, Cody, huge fan. Are planning on reviewing Starship Troopers trilogy reviews for any werewolf movies like American Werewolf. Starship Troopers, no, but I was talking earlier. I want to do a vampire and werewolf month in 2023. So absolutely on the werewolf. Okay, this is the last question I'm answering, guys. So please, I love you to death. Please don't send in any more super chats or anything because I really do need to get out. My mouth is starting to hurt like a son of a bitch. What was it like meeting Chris Stuckman? So this is the experience that we had, and it was very cool. It kind of made me and Sean's whole weekend. So day one of Fantastic Fest, we're there to see Smile, the world premiere of Smile, and Terrifier 2 at a midnight screening. So we're in the lobby, and when you go to Fantastic Fest, obviously there's people outside of the theater hanging out, congregating. There's a little club attached to the theater, Alamo Draft House, that a lot of people were hanging out in. And then you got a lot of people just hanging out in the lobby. And when you're in the lobby, they have the big red carpet thing off to the side where everybody's doing the photos and the directors as they go by. And then off to the other side, you have the board with all of the movie titles and the show times. And they basically stick up, there's different levels of badges. There's like fanatic and other stuff, and then press is just the bottom level with everybody else, so kind of like general admission. So they let people that paid a lot of money go first, and then the next level down, and then everybody. So the people that pay more get the first pick of the seats. And so we're standing there in the lobby about the hour before Smile, and we're kind of moseying around, talking a little bit, waiting for what's going on. It's my first experience. Sean's been there before. And, you see a couple of people that you recognize, like Scott Derrickson was there and Ryan Johnson was there. You saw them throughout the week, sorry. But Chris Stuckman is like 6'3". And so caught my eye out the corner. I was like, he's wearing a mask and everything. And I was like, Sean, I think that's Stuckman over there. And he's like, I think that's Stuckman too. You can only see this much, but it was enough to be able to tell. And so Sean had met him once before at a previous Fantastic Fest. He actually sat down and watched VFW with him and kind of shot the shit with him for a little bit. And so when I was there, I saw him and I was like, damn, I was like, I'm going to introduce myself. I want to go try to meet him. That'd be really cool. But I don't want to bother him right now because he seemed like he was purposely kind of off to the side and didn't really want, not that he didn't want to interact with anybody, but he wasn't necessarily going to open up and like invite everybody. So I think he even had his badge turned around so it didn't show his name. So he seemed off to the side. And I'm like, okay, well, I have no idea if he's going to be in the mood to meet anybody. So I'll wait. He'll be here all week long. I'll wait. So we go see Smile. and we get out of Smile, and we're standing there for, there's like an hour between when Smile gets out and when Terrifier 2 starts. And we're standing there again, and me and Sean are just kind of shooting the shit. And then all of a sudden, I see this person come up in my peripherals, and he's like, I recognize these faces. And it was Chris Stuckman. So Chris Stuckman recognized us and came up to us. And it was like, whoa, that's not how I pictured this going. So that was really cool. That was really cool. Somebody that I've been watching for, over a decade that paved the way for what I do recognized me. So yeah, he came up to us and wanted to meet us and talk about Smile, and we were kind of discussing that. And then I was asking him about Shelby Oaks and working with Keith David and stuff like that. And so it was really cool. And then all throughout the festival after that, we sat and talked with him after a movie, probably at least 3 or 4 times after that. After Terrifier 2, we got together again. We're talking about the movie afterwards, and multiple times throughout the rest of the week. And then the last time that we saw him was when we took the picture that Sean and I posted, because I was leaving. I had to come back home one day early because there was a hurricane coming, and I was not going to be able to feel comfortable being at a film festival if a hurricane was hitting when my family was here without me. Luckily, the fucking hurricane it just completely went around us, but I went back a day early, and so we got a picture with him before I left, because Sean was going to be there one extra day. But yeah, that was what it was like meeting Chris Stuckman. It was wild. he recognized us and walked up to us. I was like, holy shit, that is that's a story and a half. So yeah. All right. I'm sure somebody has posted a super chat. Okay. No, nobody. Okay, awesome. Everybody, you got Stuckmanized. I sure as hell did. All right, guys. So thank you so much for being one of the 100,000 pieces that has gotten me to this point. Onward and upward. We're going to keep going. 2023 should be an awesome year where I'm going to try a lot of new fun things. The rest of this year should be a lot of fun as well. Thank you to everybody that submitted super chats. There was a ton of you guys on here. That was awesome. Thank you for all the questions. I'm going to try to do some more of these Q&As. September and October was just way too busy to do any. I like doing at least once a month, though. So you guys will see me again here very soon live. As far as what to look forward to in the next week, again on, well, not again. I said this on my Patreon Q&A. I have a little issue with my tooth for some reason that has popped up out of nowhere over the past couple of days. So I've got a dentist appointment on Monday. Provided that there's not going to be some big serious thing that's going on with that. I have the top 10 movies from 1980, which is going to start kind of a video series that I want to do where I go through each year, 81, 82, over however many months. I also am going to be doing the Thing review this next week. And that's really all I have that I can guarantee for sure. I have another movie franchise review series that's going to kick off. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week. And then, of course, Wakanda Forever. So a little bit more of a slow, chill month, but it'll be fun. So, yeah, now that we got the crazy holiday season behind us, time to kind of wind down a little bit, have a little bit of fun by the end of the year, and then we'll kickstart next year and start doing some wild shit. So thank you guys so much. I will see you on the next one, and you guys have a good rest of your Saturday. See you later.